Hello everyone, I'm Tommy with Studio Sense, and today I'm bringing you a brand new fragrance for 2020. It is a Perry Ellis fragrance, new release called Perry Ellis Bold Red. Now recently I had a fragrance haul video where I talked about the Perry Ellis for Men, the OG fragrance, but this one was a new kind of a re-release or reinvigoration of the original fragrance that was released in I think 1985, and that was a 2017 release in the same format, in other words the same presentation. So when we return, we're going to get into this fragrance, see if it could be the very next best fragrance for transitional, going from summer to autumn or fall, that and more, so stay tuned. Hey guys, and welcome back. Today we're going to be talking about a new release, Perry Ellis Bold Red. Now I actually came across this by accident when I was setting up my notes for the review of the fragrance haul, that I actually included the 2017 version of Perry Ellis for Men. And I came across this and was like, oh, I didn't even know that Perry Ellis had a new... Perry Ellis is kind of like that. They're one of those houses that release fragrances without a lot of fanfare, really without a lot of marketing, and that's a way for them to keep their costs down. Tomorrow's Labor Day. I think they may have a half-off sale on this. Don't quote me on that. I'll leave a link in the description below so you can check it out, check out those details for yourself. But ran across this fragrance, thought I would check it out and have you guys check it out with me to see. This is kind of marketed as an aromatic fougere that's also woody oriental, so it kind of covers all bases when it comes to a little bit darker, a little bit richer, with a hint of that light summertime kind of festivities as we transition from summer into autumn or fall. It kind of reminds me of, I'm not going to launch into a huge story, but I grew up in a small town, partly in a small town called Irwin in Unicoi, Tennessee. There was something that, called the Apple Festival that they still put on every year, and that's what kind of this reminds me of. I don't know if you've ever been bobbing for apples. Usually it's kind of a kid thing to do. You get this big tin and you fill it full of water and you fill it full of red apples, or really whatever apple of your choice. Kids, typically 6 or 7 of them, will gather around that tin and put their hands behind their backs and they'll say go, and you have to bob for the apple and try to get a hold of either bite the apple or get a hold of the stem and pull it up. Whoever pulls up the apple first wins. So it's kind of like musical chairs, just a version of that. And I don't know why, but that kind of reminds me, anytime the weather starts changing, that's usually when the Apple Festival would happen or would occur. And so I always think about growing up in Unicoi with the Apple Festival and the color red. Certainly reminds me of this. And not surprisingly, there is an apple note in this. In fact, before we get to the note breakdown, let's check out that presentation. There you have it, Perry Ellis's basic presentation, and Perry Ellis is kind of known for, as I mentioned before in the fragrance haul, they're kind of known for utilitarian, average, everyday, midline kind of products. And when I ordered this, I didn't expect a banger or an incredible fragrance, and that's probably not what we're going to get here. But this is going to be kind of a nice, quick, easy grab for a transitional fragrance from summer to fall, summer to autumn. So that's what I'm expecting anyway. If it goes left or right, I won't be super surprised, but instead of talking about it, let's check it out. Before we do that though, let's do a real quick note breakdown of Perry Ellis Bold Red. Perry Ellis Bold Red is an eau de toilette concentration featuring top notes of finger lime and red apple, part notes of black pepper, green leaves, and ginger flower, resting on a base of mahogany wood, tonka bean, and musk. Confidence, passion, and alluring masculinity. Again, just a ton of adjectives thrown out there to describe this fragrance. Whether that's true or not, we're going to find out. Harmonious sensation of warm and fresh elements creates a stylish and sophisticated vibe, stimulating a mysterious and magnetic attraction. The crisp and intense first burst is built around cool notes of caviar lime and crisp apple. Let's check that out. The atomizer is really nice on this. I do like it. Very pleasant scent. I happen to really like apple noted fragrances. There are quite a few fragrances out there with apple notes in them, notably DKNY's Be Delicious for Men. It's really hard to find, and when you find it, it's quite expensive, and that's the one that's actually shaped like an apple. And let's see, Lacoste at Play is a really nice apple scented fragrance. Kenneth Cole Reaction is a really nice apple fragrance. This is going to be among them. I really like that crisp apple. Now, red apple or Granny Smith apple or orchard apples are really like super crisp. The aroma chemical created to make that apple note is very, very crisp in this. It's very fresh, it's very red. When I think of the note of apple, probably the most prominent house that comes in mind in terms of designer and designer fashion is Hugo Boss, of course. Hugo Boss No. 6 original fragrance has that kind of soft apple strudel or apple tart kind of note in it, which is more like a baked apple pie, whereas this is a crisp autumn apple that's just fallen off the tree. It's pretty much what I expected out of an eau de toilette. It is a little bit softer, a little bit more subdued, at least on a tester strip. Right up front you get that predominant apple crisp note, but really, you know, picking apart black pepper, ginger flower, you know, mahogany wood, tonka bean, all those things are kind of fused together, and I don't want to say confused, but blended well when it comes to, you know, a linear tester strip. Let's check it out on skin. A lot of people, including myself, make the newbie mistake of throwing their nose right on the fragrance as soon as they've sprayed it. Don't do that. It's going to give you kind of a mix of alcohol and synthetics right off the bat, and you're going to be immediately turned off to your fragrance and be like, this isn't that great. Give it just a moment to breathe a little bit, for that alcohol to dry off, for those notes to come to the fore a little bit more, and then put your nose to it. Give it a chance to, you know, get rid of some of that synthetic sensation or smell. Now on skin, you are able to pick apart the notes a lot better. So again, this is an apple-centric fragrance. So if you don't like apple, don't get this because you won't like it. I love the note of apple, and it's really done well in this fragrance, I think. So the purpose of ginger flower, or just ginger and black pepper, is to lift it off the skin, give it a little bit of body, and it's doing that well. So this is projecting well off my skin. It's got kind of a nice nimbus of projection. And this is one of those fragrances that just kind of warms you to your core. It kind of gives you that warm, fuzzy feeling that's typically associated with family gatherings, fall events like the Apple Festival, and things like that. So it's a feel-good fragrance, especially in this time of pandemic when we're not able to gather as frequently or as intensely as we'd like. Having a fragrance on hand like this to remind us of previous gatherings or previous events or times in our lives, especially when we were younger, where we did things like bobbing for apples and things like that are seasonal, it'll give you that warm fuzzy. So the fixative base of mahogany woods, a tonka bean, and that musk does add a warmth vibe, and it's like a jacket that this fragrance is wearing. And I like specifically the darker, rich mahogany. In terms of where I think this would best be utilized as a daytime, nighttime, casual wear fragrance, this is definitely not dressed up. This is an everyday kind of quick, easy grab, kick it, run around errands, going to hang out type of fragrance. Grabbing your MacBook and running to Starbucks to sit and write an extra paragraph or two on that great American novel that you're writing kind of fragrance. Grabbing that spiced pumpkin latte kind of fragrance. So it's a nice addition, I think, to that seasonal fragrance rotation, the transitional fragrance rotation that helps us transition from warmer weather into cooler weather. Is it a fantastic banger? Is it a must-have? No, it is not. It is just your average Perry Ellis middle of the line fragrance. So I definitely would wait for this to hit discounters, although I will link in the description below where you can purchase it at. Purchase it at a discount. If you could find it at a discount, that's what I would recommend. Is it a good fragrance? It is a solid fragrance. Is it a super solid fragrance? I don't have enough information yet to give you the full review. I will give you a full review in the future on this, but I wouldn't call it a super solid fragrance. I would just call it a solid fragrance. I'm glad that I have it, and I'm looking forward to actually using it as cooler weather arrives on the scene. Well guys, that's it for my quick look at first impressions and unboxing of Perry Ellis Bold Red. What kind of fragrances do you like to wear as the weather changes? If you have this fragrance and you've worn it for a while, please let us know what your experience with it has been like. Thank you so much again for stopping by and checking out my video. As always, thank you so much for your support on my channel. I'm Tommy with Studio Sense, and I'll see you next time.